What is going on, everybody? Matt here. You can find me at SportsFanaticMB on Twitter, one of the co-founders of CampusToCanton.com, and the news we've been waiting for the past couple weeks has finally been dropped. Jordan Addison is transferring from Pitt to the USC Trojans. This is big, massive news for not just the CFF landscape, but all of C2C leagues and the NFL as we continue to see these high-profile players transfer. So, for today's episode, really quick, I'm just going to give you guys a what to expect from Jordan Addison and this transfer, what it means for some of these guys. But before we do that, guys, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that bell icon so you guys are made aware when any of these videos go live so that we can help you guys win your C2C leagues. Let's take a look at what this means for Jordan Addison. All right, so we're going to start here with what this means for the offense. And Lincoln Riley has produced multiple high-end wide receivers. As you can see from the chart right here, in practically every single year, he has produced a number one wide receiver in PPR and points per game and a wide receiver two. We know that they're going to have two really good wide receivers on this team in Jordan Addison now, and obviously Mario Williams, who followed Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma to USC. Both these guys likely are going to eat in this offense. I'm going to continue to show you why here. They also have Taj Washington, who transferred in last year. They have Kyle Ford, who was a highly rated player as well, who's dealt with a lot of injuries. The rookie freshman C.J. Williams, who I was very high on. You can find in our freshman guide. He looks to possibly make an impact here at USC, but probably not going to happen this year now with this transfer news of Jordan Addison. Look at the offense success rate here. Again, we know that from Oklahoma, right? Like, this offense has been extremely, extremely good. When you look at the offensive success rate versus the offensive pass rate every single year, 2019, 18, 17, 2020, all great. And then 2021, obviously you have to factor in Spencer Rattler struggling at the beginning of the year. Then they bring in true freshman Caleb Williams, who still looked good. I'd argue really good at times, even though he struggled a little bit in the back half of the season. But this offense is going to be flying. Say what you want about the Big 12 not having any defenses. The Pac-12 doesn't have many great ones either when you're talking about really just Utah and possibly Oregon. So they are likely going to be able to put up a ton of points. Again, this offensive success rate and offensive pass rate should still be fairly high up there for USC this year with Riley being there taking over. You look at his success rate versus pass rate here again. Look at that. Every single year except for 2019, he's above that average line. We know that this offense is going to be absolutely dominant. And a big reason with that, too, I believe, is the defense for USC is still really bad. We saw it in the spring game. They were letting pretty much everything go in that. They were the 89th ranked defense last year in college football, and I don't see that improving much. So that defense is going to give up a lot of points, and this offense is going to have to absolutely go off to continue to keep up with those, especially if they want to win. You're seeing right here next to me all these plays that Jordan Addison made at Pitt. Kid is absolutely amazing. And he's going to be, again, the focal point of the offense. Last but not least here, for Lincoln Riley, his pass completions and pass attempts, just to kind of show you guys how much they're really going to be passing the ball. 2020, obviously down there a little bit. That was the COVID season. Off the top of my head, I don't believe that they played a full schedule, even if they did a little bit lower, but then you go up 2019, 18, 2021 again with a struggling Spencer Rattler and a Caleb Williams who, let's just be honest, most of us when he came out of high school did not think he was going to be that good of a passer, yet he comes out here and absolutely dominates, and then 2017, just absolutely ridiculous. So we know, again, these guys are going to be going at it. What is going to be interesting to me is, again, this offense has got those. They did bring in Travis Dye as well as Austin Jones at the running back position. I'm very curious to see how those guys work out. Dye seems to be the guy moving forward, and they do expect them to run the ball a little bit, but this is going to be a very pass-heavy offense. Let's take a look at what this means, though, for the three key guys for us: Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, and Mario Williams. So for Caleb Williams, he obviously came in, true freshman, really good season. We know what he can do with his legs and what he can do with his arm. He looked a lot better last year than even I expected him to passing the ball. I expect him to go out there and have a pretty decent season. He already knows the offense. I don't think they're really going to change much of it coming over here to USC. Last year, on just 211 attempts, he completed 136 passes for 64.5 completion percentage, 1,912 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That was all passing. Then he added 442 yards on the ground as well with 6 rushing touchdowns. He's going to have to continue to do that. Just mentioned, 89th ranked defense for USC. Caleb Williams is going to have a good year. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. The big question is going to be, though, it really was for all of us, it's like we know Mario Williams is there, and he's a very good player, but I kind of felt like they needed a dominant wide receiver. Well, they got that in Jordan Addison, who is 6 foot 175. In the past 2 seasons, season 1, 666 yards. That's not great. Number of the devil or the beast, whatever it is, however you guys want to put it anyways. 4 touchdowns, did have 9 rushes for 58 yards as well. But then last year, the big one, 100 receptions, 1,593 receiving yards, 17 touchdowns, does add 56 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Addison is going to be in for another massive season. I believe he's going to be the guy that Caleb Williams targets more than anybody else, and they're going to continue to build this offense around him now, which we kind of expected that to be of Mario Williams. Last season, Jordan Addison spent 576 snaps in the slot, 256 outside. I think he can do both, but he definitely thrives in the slot, and I expect him to be there for USC. That hurts a Gary Bryant Jr., who some of us thought may finally be able to take that really big step forward, who last year spent 370 snaps in the slot and only 228 outside. If they can move him outside, I think it's going to be him and Mario Williams on the outside with Jordan Addison in the slot. I personally think Mario Williams is a better slot player. He's a little bit smaller than Addison at 5'9", 186, just a little bit in the height, definitely a little bit bulkier. I feel like he's a much better slot receiver. Just 35 receptions for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns, 12 rushing yards. He spent 279 snaps outside with 37 in the slot. So for me, Taj Washington, he's done. Don't worry about him. Kyle Ford, I liked him. He's done. Don't worry about him. CJ Williams, one of my higher rated freshmen. I really like that kid. He's probably a year 1-0. And if you follow any of us at Canton, you know what that is, and that's bad. But it's not great, and I just don't know how he's going to see any time behind these 3 guys. It's going to be Addison, more than likely in the slot, and I bet they're going to move Gary Bryant Jr. and Mario Williams to the outside. And we'll see what this means for those guys. But, I mean, Mario Williams, what do we say? He's going to fall. He's going to fall. He has to fall. He's not going to put up, I think, I want to say not that great stats, but he actually might. He's going to have, I think, a decent season, but not the season we were hoping with him coming over and we thought was going to be the guy. But all these receivers are all the same size. I just mentioned it. 5'9" for Mario Williams. 6 foot for Jordan Addison. And then you got Gary Bryant Jr. at 5'11", 180. I mean, they all are practically the same size. I don't know that Mario Williams is going to be, well, he has to be good, right? I'm over here waffling, right, live for you guys. I think he has to be good. Lincoln Riley, as we showed on that graph earlier, has consistently produced number 1 and number 2 receivers in points per game for fantasy, scoring in PPR leagues. That's going to be Jordan Addison. It's going to be Mario Williams. It's going to be. Those are going to be the 2 guys that are focus points of this offense. I think, obviously, Addison, in my opinion, is going to have the much, much better year. But I do think the more I look at it here and kind of think about it while I'm doing a video, which is probably not great, that I do think Mario Williams ends up having a good season. Oh, obviously, you can check this out on campustocanton.com. We have all of our ADP and everything. Right now, Mario Williams is going as wide receiver 15 off the board, an ADP of 41.3. Jordan Addison, wide receiver 4, with an ADP of 15.5. I don't think the ADP shifts much for either one of those guys because even with Jordan Addison coming in there, maybe Mario drops a little bit in our ADP and in drafts just because we know Jordan Addison's going to go out there and ball out. But I still think Mario Williams is going to be a fairly good value because, again, mentioned it twice now for the last time, 89th ranked defense last year. I would not be surprised if that barely moves up at all. They're going to pass the ball a ton. They're going to be in a lot of games. They've got 2 hard games on their schedule. They get Utah, which obviously we know what they were able to do last year and how good that defense is, but then the rest of their schedule is fairly easy. They get Rice, Stanford, Fresno State, Arizona State, Washington State, Arizona, Cal, Colorado, UCLA, and then the last game of the year, Notre Dame. Maybe Notre Dame is in a better place. I'm not sure what that team's going to look like right now. Really like Marcus Freeman. But when you read off that schedule, none of those defenses really scare you outside of Utah. This is going to be an explosive offense. It's going to put up a ton of points. Jordan Addison going to USC, the current Biletnikoff Award winner, transfers from Pitt to USC. Big season incoming for Jordan Addison and the USC Trojans.